Hello students, welcome back to my class. So today we start a new chapter, that is structure of atom or atomic structure. So this is a very important chapter. This is a very important chapter from every point of view. That means mostly it is the fundamental of chemistry. Under this chapter we will discuss mainly regarding, so this is structure of atom. Under this we will discuss various atomic models, and you must have read regarding some models earlier, like your Thomson's atomic model, Thomson's atomic model. You must have read it earlier. Then Rutherford's atomic model. Then Bohr's atomic model. Then finally quantum mechanical model. Of atom. So we will discuss these things in details: Thomson's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, Bohr's atomic model, and quantum mechanical model of atom. Then this chapter includes some important topics like your Planck's quantum theory, Planck's quantum theory. We will read this in details. Then another important portion is Schrodinger's wave equation. Then Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Then based on this we know regarding orbits and orbitals. We have an idea regarding orbits and orbitals. Then we have an idea regarding quantum numbers. Quantum numbers. In earlier classes I have already told you there are 4 quantum numbers which we will discuss. Then we will discuss the electronic configuration. We will learn to write down the electronic configuration by SPDF notation. Okay. Earlier you were using the cell notation to write down the electronic configuration, but here we will learn the SPDF notation or orbital notation. So these are the important portions which will be discussed under this heading, that is structure of atom. And as I told you, it is a very important chapter. So as I told you in the last class, we should not miss a single class, and it should be have a continuity, or else you cannot follow anything. So students, as I told you, we'll start with Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton's atomic theory. Some of you must have read it earlier. Dalton's atomic theory. Why we are discussing it? Because it is the first ever theory put forward by any scientist. Okay. So what are the postulates? Number 1 postulate, as per John Dalton, matter is made up of small indivisible particles called atoms. So this is the first postulate of Dalton's atomic theory. Every matter is composed of small indivisibles. Indivisible means which cannot be further subdivided. So every matter is composed of small indivisible particles called atoms. So this is the first postulate. Next, point 2. Atoms of same element are similar in all respects. That means when you take atom of a same element, let us say oxygen. Okay. So as per Dalton, they will have every property similar. They will have their every property similar. So atoms of the same element cannot differ in any property. That is the next point. Atoms of same elements are similar in all respects. Similarly, what is point number 3? Atoms of different elements are different in all respects. So he proposed that if we take different atoms of different elements, suppose we compare oxygen and carbon. These are atoms of two different elements. He proposed that, Dalton proposed that there cannot be any similarity between them. They do not have any similarity between them. They don't have any common property between them. So that is the point number 3. Atoms of different elements are different in all respects. Okay. Then next. Atoms combine in a simple and fixed ratio to form compound atoms. So I am underlining this point, compound atoms. Okay. So atoms combine in a simple and fixed ratio to form compound atoms. For example, if hydrogen and oxygen they combine, they form water. So from any source, if we prepare water, what is the formula of water? H2O. He told that whatever may be the source of formation, whenever water will be formed, 2 hydrogen atoms will combine with 1 atom of oxygen. So it's a simple and fixed ratio. What is the ratio of combination here? Hydrogen to oxygen 1. So this ratio in which the atoms will combine is a simple and fixed ratio. Okay. So this is the next point. Atoms combine in a simple and fixed ratio to form compound atoms. And why did I underline it? So because at that time he did not have any idea. He could not differentiate between the ultimate particle of an element and a compound. Okay. So he did not have an idea regarding molecules. So instead of using the term molecules, he used the term compound atoms. Because he could not differentiate between the ultimate particle of an element and a compound. Okay. Then point number 5. Our atom is the smallest particle to participate in a chemical reaction. So whenever the atoms do combine with each other, they always combine in the smallest form, that is in the form of atoms. Okay, so atom is still this smallest particle which participates or takes part in a chemical reaction. Okay, so atom is the smallest particle which takes part or participates in a chemical reaction. The last point, atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. So this is an important portion of his theory. As for John Dalton, atom is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be formed. Okay. It can neither be destroyed. It can neither be created. Okay. So these are the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. It was put forward in 1803. At that time, only the laws of chemical combinations were proposed by the scientists. So based on these laws of chemical combination, John Dalton proposed his theory, and because it is the first ever theory put forward by any scientist regarding atoms, that's why we are discussing this one as Dalton's atomic theory in the first portion of atomic structure, because this is the basis of structure of atom. At that time, he told that atoms do not have any structure. Okay, but later on, if we see this point once again, we'll compare it with modern atomic theory. So next we'll discuss modern atomic theory, which has undergone drastic change with respect to these points. So as for him, atom is the indivisible particle. Atom is the smallest particle of the matter which is indivisible. That means atoms cannot be divided further. But you know, nowadays there are around 35 types of subatomic particles, and out of which we discuss mainly 3: electron, proton and neutron, which are the building blocks of an atom. So there are around 35 types of subatomic particles. That means atom is very well divisible, and there are around 35 types of subatomic particles present inside the atom. That means his first point was also wrong, but at that time he proposed this. So next, based on these points, we will discuss the modern atomic theory. That means as on 2020, what are the standings of Dalton's atomic theory? What are the corrections imposed on Dalton's atomic theory which stands good for today's century? Okay. So atom is no longer indivisible, it is very well divisible. Then it is not always the case that atom of the same element will have all similar properties. We will take the example how atoms of the same element can differ in their properties. Then atoms of different elements will not be completely different in all properties. They may have some identical properties. We will also discuss them. Then atoms combine in a simple and fixed ratio. Okay, fixed ratio is correct, but it may not be simple always. And there is nothing called compound atoms. They are called molecules. Okay, so this is the correction. They always combine in fixed ratio. It's correct, but it may not be simple always. So I will cite an example here. Then atom is the smallest particle to participate in the chemical reaction. Till that, atom is the smallest particle to participate in a chemical reaction. Okay. Then atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. That is also wrong. Atom of one element can be changed into atom of another element, and the mass of an atom can easily be converted into energy as per Einstein's equation E is equal to mc square. That means atom can be interconverted and can be destroyed to produce enormous amount of energy as per Einstein's equation E is equal to mc square. So these are the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. Next we will discuss what are the corrections to it so that we can discuss the modern atomic theory. So next, students, as I told you, we will discuss the postulates of modern atomic theory. So after research by various scientists, mainly J.J. Thomson, James Chadwick, Niels Bohr, Faraday, Michael Faraday. So these points or these postulates of Dalton's atomic theory underwent radical or drastic changes. So after incorporating or including the drastic changes, we will discuss the modern atomic theory. That means what are the corrections to Dalton's atomic theory? Okay, so these postulates will be discussed under the heading of modern atomic theory. So as I told you, so the Dalton's atomic theory has undergone drastic changes after the research by different scientists, among which the names of James Chadwick, J.J. Thomson, then Neil Bohr, Michael Faraday, they are noteworthy. So we will discuss next the points or various postulates of modern atomic theory. So in contrast to the points given by John Dalton. So you have to remember every point or every postulate of Dalton's atomic theory so that we can discuss it as a change. So what are the first point of Dalton's atomic theory? Now matter is made up of small indivisible particles called atoms. So what will be the correction here? Okay, it is it comprises of small particles or atoms, but atom is no longer indivisible. So what is the first point? Now atom is no longer indivisible. It comprises of around 35 types of subatomic particles. That means there are some particles present inside the atom which are known as subatomic particles. So as on today there are around 35 types, which may increase in future also, of subatomic particle, subatomic particles present inside the atom. Out of which three fundamental particles called electrons, protons and neutrons will be discussed in this chapter are the fundamental particles called building blocks. Building blocks of atom. So this is the first postulate of modern atomic theory, in contrast to Dalton's atomic theory, which told that atom is indivisible. But as on today, it is proved that atom is very well divisible. It comprises of around 35 types of subatomic particles, out of which we will discuss regarding electron, proton and neutrons, because they are fundamental particles and are the building blocks of the atom. That means atoms have a definite structure which is given by these building blocks called electrons, protons and neutrons. Then what are the second point of Dalton's atomic theory? Atoms of same element will be similar in all respects. That means their every property has to be similar. Is it so? No. If we take the case of chlorine, we can write chlorine like this: chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. They are the atoms of the same element. Which element? Not chlorine. Do you see they have all properties similar? No. They have different property also. What is that? They may have different mass numbers. So what will we write here? Atoms of same element may have different mass numbers. And what are they known as? And they are known as isotopes. So I have already told you what are isotopes. You can see it clearly from this one. So what is same here? Atomic number is same here. Mass number is different. Okay. That means as per John Dalton, atoms of the same element has to be similar in all respect. That means their every property should be similar. But here, in case of isotopes, it is not true. That means they can differ by their mass number. And any two species having same atomic number but different mass number are called isotopes. Okay, so this is the next point or next postulate of modern atomic theory. Atoms of the same element may not have all properties similar. They will differ at least by the mass number in case of isotopes. Then what is the third point? Third point, atoms of different elements will have different properties completely. They will have completely different properties. They cannot have any similar property. But look at these two. Argon 1840, calcium 2040. What is common here? There are two different elements, argon and calcium. But there is similarity here. Their mass numbers are same. So what they are called? They are called isobars. So what we will write? Atoms of different elements may have similar or same, similar, do not write similar, may have same mass number and they are known as isobars. So, what is the definition of isobar? Look at it. You can very well define it. What is same here? Now the superscript, that is the mass number is same. What is different here? The subscript, that is the atomic number is different. So any two species having different atomic number but same mass number are called isobars. Example, argon and calcium. So this is the third postulate of modern atomic theory. It is not the case that atoms of different element will have all their properties different from each other. That means they can have a same property, they can have a same mass number, which are known as isobars. Then what are the fourth point? Atoms always combine in a simple and fixed ratio to form compound atoms. I have already told you there is nothing called compound atoms, they are called molecules. He did not have the idea regarding the ultimate particle of an element and a compound. So he used the term compound atoms. But he will be using the term molecules. We know they are called molecules. So there is, and it is a fact that the atoms always combine in a fixed ratio to form molecules. Atoms always combine in a fixed ratio. For example, I gave the example of water. Whenever water will be formed, two atoms of hydrogen will combine with one atom of oxygen to form water. Okay, so it's correct that whenever the atoms will combine to form molecules, they will always do so in a fixed ratio, but it may not be simple always. So atoms always combine in a fixed ratio to form molecules, but it may not be simple always. So it is correct that it will be a fixed ratio, but may not be simple always. For example, you take the case of sucrose, common sugar, H22O11. This is common sugar called sucrose, sugar molecule. So you have three elements are there: carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. and the ratio in which they combine is 12 is to 22 is to 11. So the ratio in which carbon, hydrogen and oxygen combine to form sugar is fixed. That is 12 is to 22 is to 11. That means whenever sucrose will be formed, the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms will be combined in a fixed ratio. That is 12 is to 22 is to 11. But this ratio is not a simple one. Okay. So what is the correction here? Now it's okay that it is a fixed ratio, but it will not always be simple. It will not always be simple. You can cite the example of sugar. It's a fixed ratio, but it is not called simple ratio. Okay. Then what are the next point? Atom is still the smallest particle to participate in a chemical reaction. So I told you from the beginning that this is the only correct point. So still atom is the smallest particle which participate in a chemical reaction. Okay, so that is correct. Last one. Atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. As I told you, although atoms cannot be created, but they are interconvertible. That means atom of one element can be converted into atom of another element. How? For example, we will take the case of beryllium. Beryllium 4, 9. When it is hit with alpha particles means helium nucleus, that means He, they are alpha particle. So when light elements like beryllium, boron, etc. are hit by alpha particle is nothing but helium nucleus. What we get? C, carbon 6, 12. And an energetic particle called neutron. Later on we will use this equation for discovery of neutron also. So what has happened? Atom of one element, beryllium, has been converted into atom of another element. So as per Dalton, atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. So what is the modern atomic theory? The atom of one element can be converted into atom of another element. So suppose light elements like beryllium and boron are bombarded with alpha particle. Alpha particle is nothing but helium nucleus. So we write He24. So what happens? Now beryllium is converted into carbon atom. Beryllium atom is converted into carbon atom plus an energetic particle called neutron is produced. So remember this one. Whenever we discuss the discovery of neutron, we will use this equation once again. So what it proves? Now atom of one element can be converted into atom of another element as you show here. What we find here? An atom of beryllium has been converted into atom of carbon. So atom of one element can be converted into atom of another element. Then second point, atom is indestructible. No, atom's mass can be very well converted into energy in the form of or using the equation, Einstein's equation, E is equal to mc square. The mass, so what will write? The mass of an atom can be converted into energy by using Einstein's equation E is equal to mc square, where E is energy, m is mass, c is the velocity of light. That means a very small mass of an atom can give rise to enormous amount of energy, because c, do you know what is the value of c, velocity of light? 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So its square means 9 into 10 power 16 meter per second. So any small mass, when destroyed or converted into energy, will give you enormous or a great deal of energy. Okay, so these are the various postulates of modern atomic theory. Simply you can remember them if you remember the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. So what are these? That they are simply the drastic corrections to the first ever atomic theory put forward by any scientist, that is called Dalton's atomic theory. So we have to remember the points of Dalton's atomic theory. Then only you can write the postulates of modern atomic theory. Based on this, we will discuss the structure of atom. We will start with the discovery of fundamental particles like electrons, protons, and neutrons. And you know that most of the discoveries, they are accidental in nature, because the scientists, they used to search for some other purpose, or they used to experiment for some other purpose, but coincidentally they find a different result. Similarly, you know how the electrons were discovered. Now it was discovered during the research going on about conductance of electricity by the gases by using Crookes tube. So Crookes tube method or Crookes tube experiment, you must have read it earlier. So in the next class we will start with discovery of electron, proton and neutron. After the discovery of electron, proton and neutron, we will go for different atomic models. Thomson's atomic model was the first ever atomic model put forward. Then it had some drawbacks, failures. So based on the failures, the next atomic model was put forward by Rutherford based on Rutherford's gold foil experiment. Then Rutherford's atomic model had also some failures or drawbacks. After that, which atomic model was put forward? Now, Bohr's. It was put forward by Niels Bohr. Bohr's atomic model we will discuss. Then similarly also, Bohr's atomic model had some drawbacks or limitations. So next, using the Planck's quantum theory and Schrodinger's wave equation and the duality of matter, another model of atom, that is quantum mechanical model of atom, was given. So we will discuss them in details, during which we will discuss important portions like electromagnetic radiation, photoelectric effect, Planck's quantum theory, duality of matter. These things we will discuss. Okay, students? So it is an interesting chapter, and you have to be very sincere, very punctual in listening to the class, so that you will follow every bit of atomic structure, and it will be utilized everywhere. Henceforth in chemistry also. So the same chapter, the atomic models, you will be also reading in your second year physics. So what I tell you, you have to be very sincere and punctual in listening to the lecturer, so that you can follow every bit of this chapter. Okay, students? So this is for today. See you in the next class.